Waste no time. Hour number 2 of Get Up. Let's go directly to Dallas, where we had Dak and the Cowboys on one side. We had Patrick and the Chiefs on the other. And early on, RC, we had a shootout. Chiefs up 7-0 in the first quarter. And then here comes Dak, and here comes C.D. Lamb.
A beautiful double move to C.D. Lamb in the corner of the end zone. He extends up, catches the football. This was huge for C.D. Lamb, atoning for what we saw last week with drops.
Both quarterbacks making big plays. This one from Patrick on a 3rd and 14.
His legs always become a part of the picture, but DeMarvion Overshown is actually spying him in that situation, and he makes a huge move to pick up the first down.
And it leads to this on a 4th down play. That's Kelsey in the back of the end zone.
This is just chemistry. Back shoulder, pivot out. I'm covered, now I'm not covered.
Again on a 4th down. Chiefs up 14-7, but then here comes Malik Davis.
Of all people, Malik Davis. Like,
Marty Ball!
people looking him up on the internet. Who is this guy? Where'd he come from?
I mean, when you wear 43, they don't know you and love you like that.
He went 43 yards to the house, too,
perfect.
and then Chiefs on a 4th and goal. Look at Patrick extend.
Patrick Mahomes extending the play. You know when he gets into the big-time moments, he's going to make plays. He finds Rashee Rice in the end zone, but Patrick Mahomes is trying to will his team to victory.
So the Chiefs take a 21-20 lead, and then here comes the play of the game.
Yeah, we call that will broken.
George Pickens is an absolute freak show. Catches the football, gets down the sideline, outruns people, and then jumps over Trent McDuffie, and Trent McDuffie is standing all of 5'10" in that moment.
If he sticks that landing and scores this
Nice
play
play,
of the year.
peekaboo with the kids.
But then how about this nice 3rd and goal play from Dak?
Dak Prescott has looked healthier this year than he has in a long time. A huge play with his legs, finds Javonte Williams late, and that leads to a 2-point conversion by George Pickens.
So they're up 28-21 now early in the 4th quarter. Remember C.D. Lamb coming off the bad night? How about this play?
Hey, listen, you see the blitz off the edge from Trent McDuffie? You know you one-on-one with Shamari Connor. You're going to go deep to C.D. Lamb. Perfect throw by Dak Prescott.
And then with all the stars on the field, this is on a 3rd down play. Maybe the biggest play of the night, Kevontae Turpin.
It's about hustling, Dan.
My kicker son said that's a special teams play right there as soon as it happened.
And he recovers the fumble that turns into the field goal that makes it a 10-point game. Now 4 minutes left in the 4th. Bart, this is unbelievable.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes, the ability to stay up, and this is all arm right here.
I mean,
elite right there.
Xavier Worthy for 42 yards.
It's ridiculous.
Just watch it again. Look at Mahomes.
Slap the feet, hung it
Quentin
down.
Williams misses. He's parallel to the ground when he's throwing this football. Xavier Worthy finds a way to get open. And at this point, you're saying, oh, we've seen this story before. Patrick Mahomes, the Hollywood Brown for the toe tap. Oh, now we know the Kansas City Chiefs come back and win.
Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns in this game, but they would never see the field again. 3 minutes and change remaining. Flag on the play. Jalen Watson, good call.
That's a good call. He's supposed to be inside in 2-man. He gives up the leverage, and now he's trying to hold George Pickens to not let him get inside. And then now we see C.D. Lamb hand fighting with Trent McDuffie. I don't like the penalty here, but it doesn't matter. Big play for the All-Pro.
It doesn't matter because he caught it anyway. And then last chance here on a 3rd down. That's George Pickens for the first down that ices the game. The Dallas Cowboys do it again. 31-28. Here's Dak after a hard-fought win.
We can be whatever we want to be. Everything's in front of us. I just was telling the offense of that when we were in, those kneel downs at the end of the game. But it's not going to happen next Thursday. It's going to happen, Sunday when we get in the building. We're still put ourselves in a tough position. Doesn't mean that we've got out of it just because of the 2 teams that we've beat. Next week's just as important as this game was.
What a great win on Thanksgiving Day. So what a Thanksgiving we have about this bunch. I don't think I've ever been in a more appreciative locker room than the game that they played today against a mighty special team.
Now that's special, right?
He holding it out here, too.
With the turkey leg in his hands on
Bro, look
Thanksgiving.
at Clarence's face behind Jerry Jones right now, though. He's like, this dude's holding a turkey leg.
Yeah, but you know
Is
what?
that sanitary? Is that kosher to have that just out there?
Of course.
People talking and spitting
That's
on
a
your
prop.
turkey
There
leg?
were no
First off, Greeny would never. He'd have a fork and a knife on the side of it to even hold it in his hand.
I would have someone else holding it for me, but that's neither here nor there. Let's be serious for a minute here, and let's give credit in all the places that we never do with the Cowboys. Look, they started their season in ridiculous fashion. You don't trade away your best player a week before the season begins. So none of this makes up for that necessarily. Or I guess it's unrelated to that. But suddenly, this team seems so different from anything we have become accustomed to it being. And in the last 5 days, they just beat the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl.
Because this team, you use words like resilient and tough, right, and smart. right, and timely and clutch. All of those words go to who they are, and that's because of Brian Schottenheimer, but it's also because of their quarterback who's playing at an MVP level and ascending to the top tier, and 2 wide receivers that could be the best wide receiver on 30 different teams in the NFL. What they were able to do yesterday from start to finish defines what this game is. Trent McDuffie right now is in inside leverage on CeeDee Lamb. You're going to see CeeDee Lamb with a sail route here because on the other side of the field, the safety is doubling George Pickens and shaded to him because of last week George Pickens excelling. Now, you're going to see the safety here. He's in quarters. He's too tight to the line of scrimmage. He's also too tight to the hash. CeeDee Lamb with a double move on the outside. Easy pitch and catch for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, who's atoning for the misses last week. Now, this is the play that everybody loved from yesterday. You're going to get a blitz. So now we know we have one-on-one with George Pickens. Once again, the safety's to the top of the screen to the bunch. He catches the football. He folds away from the safety, outruns him down the sideline, then jumps over Trent McDuffie's head. And this is the defining play of the game. Normally, this is only CeeDee Lamb. You have 3-by-1. You motion the man away from him, which makes the backers plus. And Javonte Williams moves Jaden Hicks with the swing to the flat. A wide open area for George Pickens. This is pitch and catch against most cornerbacks in the NFL. Brian Schottenheimer is continuing to find a matchup, and Dak Prescott knows exactly where and how to go with the football.
See, it's things that we say in football. If you're a defensive savant, you understand. 3-by-1 backside what?
I'm thinking inside route.
Backside slant. It's like, but it doesn't matter. You can keep it simple like that when my players are better than yours. So you talk about, hey, you want to double Pickens? Okay, CeeDee Lamb, one-on-one. These are all just pitch and catches right here. And listen, the toughness, attitude reflects leadership. And the leadership of this team is tough and resilient because he had to be. This is a guy that was a front runner for a head coach 16 years ago.
He
waited his turn, and he's instilled a sense of toughness and responsibility, and he was uniquely qualified to deal with this type of wide receiver room because he dealt with Braylon Edwards and Santonio Holmes. If you can deal with those two, you can deal with anybody, trust me.
So I think that's an interesting point that we're making here because the face of the Cowboys for as long as anyone at this point can remember, has been Jerry Jones. And what's that about? That's about a show. It's about glitz. It's about Hollywood. It's about glamour. It's about, marketing. All of a sudden, and Jerry remains, he's still the one standing there with the turkey leg, but this team doesn't feel like that anymore.
Yeah.
No. They've got stars on their helmets and on the field, but they do feel like they do the things that winning football teams do, and that's because Brian Schottenheimer, I think, has put his fingerprints on this team.
Absolutely. Everybody thought it was silly to hire Brian Schottenheimer, except Brian Schottenheimer, who felt like, I've worked for this my whole life. I'm ready for it. Watch me. You were all wrong for years. I'm going to be good at this. And that's how he's carried himself, and that's how he's worked to build that chemistry between him and his team. He's also operating at a very high level as an offensive play caller, as well as a head coach. I mean, we don't see everybody do that at that high a level. So confidence is a key word. You talk about Dak Prescott feeling looking better physically. He feels that. Like his confidence is very high as a result of how well his rehab went from last year's injury, and as a result of having those 2 wide receivers to throw to on any play. So you see a confident offense. The turnaround with this team is because they got some guys back healthy on defense, and they added 2 key pieces on defense at the trade deadline, and all they needed was a competent defense that could get the other offense off the field every now and then, as opposed to never, ever, ever. And now the offense that they have,
that's an important point. And again,
them.
Pickens spectacular. But I want to talk about that defense for a minute here because you're going to say, oh, they didn't play a great game. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns. But when this game is decided, it's in a stretch where the Chiefs punted 3 straight times. So you're talking, we just need a stop here, a stop there.
And the
that's
Chiefs
where
couldn't get the stop.
That's my point. The Chiefs were ahead in this game early. And then the Cowboys went ahead and played from in front because their defense made a few big stops.
Think about this. The Chiefs start this game. They get a turnover. They score very early. They score on the next drive. And then 3 consecutive punts that allow the Dallas Cowboys to go up 17-14. And we're talking about what the offense was able to do in those moments. But that was this defense stopping the run, this defense putting pressure on the quarterback. And there were absolutely some plays where on the back end, they were strapping the wide receivers of the Kansas City Chiefs, which is why Patrick Mahomes had to move so often. Early on in this season, we continued to say if they could just have a competent defense, this team could win football games. But what are we used to seeing the Dallas Cowboys do? Be able to score during those times and then get the competency on the defensive side of the ball and take a step back. Brian Schottenheimer has not allowed that to happen. He's empowered this offense. He's given the football to Dak Prescott and say, this is your team, but we'll continue to run it. And Quinnen Williams being added to that team, when you're around greatness, when you're around somebody that works a certain way, executes a certain way, and plays a certain way, he can raise the level of the other players. And DeMarvion Overshown's athleticism on that second level is showing up play in and play out.
Logan Wilson's leadership.
Yep.
He's the guy that's navigating, moving all the pieces. But listen, when you've been on a horrible organization like Quinnen Williams and you got an opportunity to play for something, I mean, it changes everything. And he's inspired and lifted. We heard about his speech at halftime, the other day. But also just the fact that, this team is tough inside the trenches, right? And listen, Shotty isn't forgetting about how you play football in balance. 26 touches, 137 yards rushing. He makes sure that he stays balanced, and he makes sure that he takes advantage of his matchups.
Something to be said for creative roster building, too, because you trade away Micah Parsons. At the trade deadline, sure, you would love to get an edge rusher to replace it, but you can't. They're just not out there.
But you
can get Quinnen Williams, so what do we can play more five-man fronts because that's the personnel we have.
3-4.
Right? So being creative that way and building around your key personnel.
Because Quinnen is a force multiplier.
Yeah.
So you make your outside rushers better because they get one-on-ones, especially when you put 5 against 5. So it makes one-on-one on the outside opposed to a 4-3 where you can get a double team.
And so suddenly the Cowboys become a team. They're over 500 for the first time. They have a chance, if they run the table, to get in. I think they become the team nobody wants to play.
Absolutely not. You never wanted to play this offense anyway.
Yeah.
You don't want to play a team with a motivated George Pickens who is actually happy. Right, and then CeeDee Lamb playing the way he is, Javonte Williams making plays out of the backfield. But this is also a team that is now tired of being told they aren't tough enough. A coach who was tired of being overlooked and who, more than anything, a great play caller for sure, a great delegator, is a great leader of men, and he's shown that the last month of this season.
And not all 28 points are created equally. They spotted them 7. That's really 3 scores. And that's usually the goal of a defense, 17 points. In this new NFL, 21 is the new 17.
How many teams you see give up that 7 right away and then get out of their game?
Yeah.
They didn't do it, right? Look,
when you give up 21 the week before.
If the Cowboys don't get in, they can at least mess up somebody else's season. They're going to be a tough team to play.
Detroit, you on deck.
And it actually feels like they're building something that could be meaningful. So that's where it begins. What a game it was, and here's one of the many consequences. At ESPN Bet, the Chiefs woke up yesterday as the favorites to win the AFC. They went to sleep with the 5th shortest odds to win the conference after that loss. Colts, Patriots, Bills, and Broncos ahead of them. Here was Patrick after another very tough defeat.
At the end of the day, you just gotta win every game now. And hope that's enough. So we're gonna play a lot of good football teams coming up. And if we're gonna make the playoffs, we're gonna have to win them all. And that's gotta be the mindset when we step into the building when we get back. We can beat anybody, but we've shown that we can lose to anybody. And so we got to be more consistent.
So that is the way you look at it if you're them right now. They've lost 3. Now, they didn't lose the game against the Colts, but all these losses are by 1 score. Every loss they have this season is in 1-score games. There's something I asked you this morning on our call that I think was a really insightful way of putting it. Every metric suggests the Chiefs are better than they were a year ago. They're scoring more points. They're allowing fewer points. They're totaling more yards. And yet a year ago, they were 15-1 in games they tried to win. And here they are 6-6, needing to run the table to get into the playoffs. What's the difference?
They don't finish. This isn't the same Kansas City Chiefs team. Yes, Steve Spagnuolo's there, Andy Reid's there, and Patrick Mahomes is there. Outside of Tampa Bay Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Super Bowl recently, we've always seen Patrick Mahomes find a way to lift his team to wins. He can't do that with this iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the problem is this: you can't rush the passer and you can't run the football. And when you can't do those two things, and also when you don't make a move at the trade deadline to find someone who can help you do those things, they should have got Breece Hall. Find someone who can help you do those things. You put yourself in this position. There's no way you don't still watch Patrick Mahomes and say to yourself, this is the best player in the world. You don't watch Patrick Mahomes and say to yourself, he can will teams to victory. And we've normally seen that, but not with this group of individuals. And I said this going into last week. You now have to convince yourself in watching the film of this team in the most important moments that they are the same Kansas City Chiefs, because the tape says that they're not, and says that they don't perform in the most critical situational football moments.
Well, they had their big three, right? And you can say that they're better in every metric, but the field is better. Right, the quarterbacks have come of age. They're not as afraid of the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones is still good, but he's not elite like he was before. He's not the plus multiplier that he was before. He's not the game record that he was before. Kelsey, numbers still good, touchdowns, crafty, but he's doing it with his mind, not with his body, because he can't take over physically anymore, and he only can be effective in spurts. He can't dominate the entire game, and so they're missing an elite guy who can win one-on-one, like Tyreek Hill. So now they got a cast of, number two receivers. They don't have a dominant number one, and it's finally catching up with them. And me and RC played a lot of football. We played a lot of playoff football consecutively. Eventually you get tired because you can't recover the offseason. This team has been in the AFC Championship every game of Patrick Mahomes' career.
Correct.
You get fatigued, and what happens is the supporting cast isn't as good, and they can't cover up those holes anymore.
We did this the other day. They've played 21 playoff games during that stretch of time. That's over an entire full season, far more than any other team has played in the league. They get everybody's best shot. No one's asking you to feel sorry for them. They play on a Friday in Brazil. They play a Thursday game. They play a Monday night game. They've only had 2 Sunday at 1 o'clock games the entire season. It starts to wear on you. No one's making excuses.
No,
they're the most popular team and all that stuff. At the end of the day, they still have a bunch of chances to win the game yesterday, but maybe just that little bit of erosion is why you go from 15-1 to 6-6.
And that becomes costly because we've seen over the years this Chiefs team doesn't look like last year, and then they find a way. They stick with it, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling makes a big catch in the AFC Championship game, right? After dropping everything all year. But the thing is, they're not building that cushion that they need. They're losing these one-score games, so now you may not get to that point where your guys are in position to make those plays in the AFC Championship game. So something's off. You're right about like how all the stats say they should be better, but they're just not. Like, you're watching that game yesterday, and Mahomes will just do something at the end, and either they drop the ball, or he just doesn't, or Chris Jones
would do something.
Or you don't get a stop on
game-sealing sack, that he won Super Bowls with. So they're just off. Now, again, he said we got to win the rest of their games. He said that with the confidence of a man who knows he can win the rest of their games. And if you are an AFC playoff hopeful, do what if you are the Texans, if you are the Chargers, if you are the Broncos, do what you can to keep them out of the field.
And here's the thing, man. As a Michael Jordan fan, this is probably sacrilegious. Michael Jordan went to play baseball. Right? Because maybe if he doesn't go play baseball, we get to see him have a year like this. This is why what LeBron did was so impressive, because every single year he played deep into the playoffs, and he was able to fight that fatigue and come back and find a way to win.
Well, he got new teammates. He switched his teammates.
Yeah, I know, but it is difficult. And the thing is this. We have to remember, everyone is building a team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The same way everybody built the team to beat the Golden State Warriors, to beat the New England Patriots. You're looking at that one man, that one coach, and trying to figure out how do we take it to the next step. And the other piece is this. Both teams feel the erosion. The Kansas City Chiefs, who always won one-score games, who were 12-0 last year, who are 1-6 this year, they know now it doesn't feel like, Patrick's going to make that play like it used to be. Mike's going to make this shot. And the other teams on the other side like, wait, we've watched them 5 other times this year lose in this exact moment. We got Dak. We won last week coming back.
Are they going to make it? What do you think? Do you think they make the playoffs? Our FPI continues to like them. You saw them favoring them in every one of those games.
He's gotten in trouble with this before.
What are you?
That's the nail in the coffin?
Somebody's going to put a nail in the coffin. I think, listen, it's okay because the window isn't closed for Patrick Mahomes, but it's closed for this big three. I think they have to get some young blood here, and they have to get some dominant takeover talent. They got to get a true number one, or they got to get a real running back in there. Because when you look at what they're getting from Kareem Hunt, it's fine.
Every year?
Yeah, well, you got to make a move. I mean, and you talked about it. it was the difference between a third-round pick and a fourth-round pick. Breece Hall erases so many problems and issues. It gives them a dynamic playmaker that you can say, here's a handoff, here's a little dump-off pass, go make something happen like they used to do with Tyreek Hill. And that's too much to put on Patrick Mahomes.
Well, to your point, I mean, even the greatest of dynasties don't do it every year, 10 years in a row. There's going to be a little bit
Brady
of a
went
lull
10 years in between championships.
And Brady did exactly right, and then maybe they retool all that kind of thing. If it isn't meant to be this year, but you look hesitant.
I gotta see a body. I'm sorry. I cannot believe that they are done until they are done. If Patrick Mahomes loses in regulation time in the AFC Championship game, that will be his earliest playoff exit ever.
That's correct.
If he loses that game in regulation.
Yes.
So let's hold off.
He has lost 2 AFC Championship games, both in overtime.
Yes.
I've been holding out all season, though. I've been saying that, and it's getting more and more grim for this team.
I don't dispute that. I'm just saying, like, this team,
you're saying things
we need to see it.
I'm not used to saying Chris Jones get joked up.
If they don't make it, you would have been there that Monday night against Jacksonville, that game they let get away.
Yeah.
That if they don't wind up making it, that's where they
because that's critical when you still the playoff race. All those teams in front of them have beaten them: Buffalo, Jacksonville, and the Chargers.
And this is the weakest AFC I've seen in a long time, and I don't know who can make a claim to take it over.
Well, you know why it feels that way? Because if the season ended now, Patrick would not be in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson would not be in the playoffs. Joe Burrow would not be in the playoffs.
And Danny
Josh
Dimes got a
Allen
broken
is
fibula.
hanging by a thread. And the fourth down decisions that decided it, while the Lions were 0 for 2 on fourth downs, the Packers were 3 for 3, including that clutch, critical play from Jordan Love that sealed the win. The Packers able to run out the clock and win a critical matchup in the NFC North, 31-24. And let me show you the numbers here. The Lions have gone for it on fourth down more than any other team under Dan Campbell. And through their first 9 games this year, it was working. They were 13 of 18. But in their last 3 games, they've been 0 for 7 on fourth downs. And I want to start there because it was an incredibly compelling game in so many ways. And I feel the need to preface this by saying I love Dan Campbell. I think he's an unbelievable coach.
Absolutely.
He could coach my team 10 out of 10 days. That said, there were 2 things that happened yesterday that really threw me. Not kicking the field goal early in the fourth quarter, down 10 on a 4th and 3 from the 21-yard line. I know your identity is going for it on fourth downs, but sometimes the circumstances dictate making a change. This is the play here. Now, people will say Jameson Williams should have caught this and it would be a first down, and that's right. But it's one of the reasons that it's a risk, because you never know what might happen when you go for it on fourth down. So, RC, did you agree with the decision?
I did. I agreed with the decision, especially when your counterpart, Matt LaFleur, is coaching so aggressively. Points were at a premium at that point, and it wasn't just about getting 3. It was about the ability to get 7. And when you dial up that play, to me, that means you understand what you're getting from Jeff Hafley's defense. And you had the exact play call that you need. And you have Jameson Williams, who's an $83 million wide receiver, Jared Goff, who's taken the team to the Super Bowl, and you put the football in their hands.
What did you think, Dan?
I mean, look, it's not about like being reckless or going with your gut or feeling the flow of the game. They have the data that tells them in this situation, with this much time left on the clock, at this part of the field, with this far to go, we go for it or we kick. And at this point, you have to do it. You have to stick to it every single time in order for it to work over time. You put the stat up there, 13 for 18, now 0 for 7, still 13 for 25.
Right.
Pretty good,
right?
So I think it's important to remember that he's not out there just flying by the seat of his pants.
No.
Look what Greedy did when you said it's still pretty good. He went,
I guess
Is it not?
You know, it used to say every interception has its own story. Like every fourth down has its own story.
Absolutely.
What you're talking about is over the course of 1,000 simulations, it will work this way and this way.
Yes.
But we're not playing 1,000 games.
Exactly.
We're playing one snap. We're playing one game. We're playing one situation.
But to me, that's why it's the right call in that situation. Bart, it's hindsight, Bart. You're not sitting here questioning.
I was sitting there when it happened.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
I was yelling at the team to kick the field goal.
This game is super important to my dad's sanity. I was expecting them to kick 3, just make it a 1-touchdown score, put the pressure on Jordan Love, who sometimes can make mistakes. Listen, I think sometimes you have to take the points, and I love being aggressive, but there's nuance to it, right? Because when you talk about statistics, if it's 10% and you're going to be 9 out of 18, which 1 out of 9 are you willing to not get? Because this was pivotal. This was important, and it's slipping away.
They got it. They got it. All the guys got to do is catch the ball.
It don't matter.
You're
but that
just
human
as
element,
likely to miss a
I
field goal.
have a question. Here's my question.
Seriously,
Yes.
no. Take the point. You say take the points. You could miss the field goal just as easily as Jameson Williams dropped that ball. Like it's not. They don't
Dan,
just
I have a
hand you 3
question.
points.
Then this is a question for you, Dan. Is the 4th down to Wicks and then the other 4th down touchdown that we see yesterday?
Yeah.
Are those bad decisions by Matt LaFleur
No.
if he doesn't get them? Are we sitting here questioning Matt LaFleur if he doesn't get those?
And LaFleur said after the game that he went into it knowing they were going to go for it on 4th down because he knew his opponent was.
Yes.
You do not want to be a team that only plays 3 downs against a team that's willing to play 4. That puts you at a disadvantage. So he was giving Jordan Love, this is LaFleur said this after the game, he was giving Jordan Love 2 play calls to go into the huddle with on 3rd down because, we know we're going to run 2 plays.
But at some point, the statistics are going to go in a negative way. For them right now, this little streak they got 0 for 7, it's killing them.
I think it's a bigger deal that they're missing Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and
Right.
you got to have it.
So punch that into your data.
Mm-hmm. And so look, this is
Punch that.
These are
No
the arguments.
reports.
Type it in your computer.
You know what I'm saying?
There's no doubt these are the debates that are taking place amongst all of their fans
My
this
dad
morning.
drunk
On
as
the
hell
other
right now.
side, let's talk about Micah Parsons, RC. I mean, obviously, his impact on the Packers and on this game was enormous.
Yeah, I think what we forget is how versatile Micah Parsons actually is. When he was drafted as an off-the-ball backer. So here you're going to see Micah Parsons is standing up. And watch the way the Detroit Lions slide the line of scrimmage to him. And this allows Xavier McKinney to come free off of the edge. And Micah Parsons is actually playing the hook defender there. Now, he's off the football again, and he's standing up. And this is how they get him in one-on-ones. This still only ends up being a 4-man rush. But now he has a one-on-one with the guard because he starts standing up and moves into the line of scrimmage. Now, right now, he's in a traditional defensive end or rush in position. He gets chipped. Now we're going to see that Penei Sewell gets caught up in the wash. Watch the instincts to take the inside track and get straight to Jared Goff. That is athleticism. That is instinct. That is understanding. But also now you're in a position, if you're the offensive coordinator, you don't know where he's lining up in rush situations. I love the way he's being utilized, and he has 12.5 sacks right now, and he's one of the best players in football.
No question. And if Jordan Love plays the way he played yesterday, and he's capable of it, that's a Super Bowl team, yes?
I don't know if Jordan Love is capable of playing that way. It's something. Listen.
He just played.
RC, listen to me,
TV.
RC. Listen to me, RC. Like, we all have opponents that we have a beat on so well that we know what they do, that we always shine against them. Like, I never lost to the Cowboys, and I never lost to the Houston Texans because conceptually, we knew exactly how to play and how to make it difficult for them. They understand that you have LaFleur here, who is a master designer of plays, going against a young guy who's going to be great, and Kelvin Shepard. He has every man beater possible. He has every answer for everything that they throw at them. So I don't know if we see this version of Jordan Love against other people. You've had opponents that you had a beat on everything they did.
We always try to categorize Jordan Love as this turnover machine. He only has 3 interceptions this year.
Let's roll the tape. We have a minute here to get to Ravens. In the AFC yesterday, again, Joe Burrow threw 2 touchdowns in his return from injury. Lamar Jackson turned it over 3 times. The Ravens as a team turned it over 5 times. The Bengals blow them out in Baltimore 32-14. This was, I think, a big surprise to a lot of people because I think the conventional wisdom, even when they were 1-5, was the Ravens will get hot, they'll get the people healthy, they'll get on a run. They won 5 straight games, even though they didn't look great doing it. And last night they crashed. I mean, it was a disaster. What happened?
Well, first off, anybody who thought they were just getting it right during this win streak just wasn't watching.
Right.
They didn't watch the Cleveland Brown game and understand that it took a Mark Andrews freaking boot on a tush-push formation to score a touchdown and win that game. Or the fact that the Miami Dolphins were actually moving the football that night and they just were able to force turnovers. This team hasn't played well. Lamar Jackson hasn't looked like Lamar Jackson defensively. We know what you're going to do each and every snap based on where number 14 is lined up. And what did they call it? The roosters come to the hen or the hen comes to roost or whatever the word is. All of it happened last night because they had to face Joe Burrow, who notoriously and historically kills them. Yeah. They ran into a team that was prepared to play them, that was not scared of them because they know what the Baltimore Ravens have been putting on film. This team is cooked. If they get to the playoffs by default, which it would be by default, they will be home week 1.
See, only because just the names on the back of the jerseys, if they get in, maybe they can get hot. I don't know if they can find it. Lamar Jackson doesn't look healthy. And without a healthy Lamar Jackson being that dynamic player and playmaker, making you pay the price for cover one and things like that. I think teams are playing him in cover one now because they know that he's not going to run right now in fear that he's going to hurt their hamstring again.
And that's huge, even to a greater extent in some ways than Mahomes, because Baltimore doesn't have elite wide receiver talent, right? Like they can beat you down the field. Good players, but not like
not great.
Not Pickens and Lamb, right? Or Chase and Higgins,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So, but yeah, Lamar Jackson been on the injury report with 3 different injuries the last 3 weeks, and none of them were the hamstring that cost him the 3 games before that. So he's pretty banged up, and you can see it. He ran a little better last night than he has been, but. Yeah,
the Steelers play the Bills this weekend, so I mean that 8-9 might wind up winning that division. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. By the way, Joe Burrow was back. It was great to see him both on the field and off. RC, dope or nope? Joe Burrow's coat.
Yeah, it's dope. Because he probably got a lot of money to wear it because the rich get richer, and he's just really good at football. When you're that good at football, I don't care how you cut your hair. I don't care if it's real fur or not. I don't even care if your pants fit. Just go out there and find Yoshi Bosch and Chase and whoever else is wide open, and that's exactly what he did. Joe Burrow is a stinking ball player. And when you're a ball player, you show up to the stadium however you want, because when you put them pads on, you the real deal.
If they beat Buffalo next week, the Bengals are going to become a team to watch. We'll get